right now, I did mention and gave you a little bit of a spoiler that we might have a special guest. And it turns out that we have nothing less than our very own CTO at Auth0, Bhawna Singh. Welcome, Bhawna. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I having flashbacks from the confessions, but I'm doing good. I'm very happy that you're here with us today, to maybe answer some questions
Yeah.
and yeah, you share your thoughts on the whole landscape of AI, identity, security, and all of that. So let me ask you, or let me start off by one question.
hmm
So can you share more why identity is foundationally for AI and what this means for developers? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the statement that you just said is says it all, which is, for agents to be adopted, for agents to be used primarily in some very key applications and decision making space, the fundamental, I think, keyword there is trust. How do you build
Yeah.
trust,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for a developer who's building agents or agent related applications, um, if they want their applications to be used by the consumer users and all, they need to start by trust. And when you see foundationally, how do you build trust? It's through identity,
Mm.
which is security. So if you are leveraging identity as a foundational platform and you're making sure that the integrations or all the user interactions is coming back to connecting to that identity, and you can track that identity, you can confirm that it's authenticated, it's authorized to do the thing that you want it to do,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you go back to the foundational aspect of, yes, I can trust this agent and it will do the thing that I'm asking. So that's what I mean when I say foundational technology and stack. And to add that, when I speak to many customers who their question primarily is, how do I know, because of the autonomous nature of agents, how do I know that my agents, how do I trust my agent?
Yeah.
Which, again, if you go dig into it, primarily what they're asking is, how do I know it's doing what I want them to do, not something mysterious? And how do I track it? And how do I trace it and audit it? If you, every question that they ask, it comes back to identity. And for agent, if I'm building agents to do something for me, that's my identity or
Mm-hmm.
information going into agents doing different things. So these are multiple agents doing different things. How do I now know, what should it be doing, and the guardrails. So I say, as builders, as developers, if you're building AI agents application, you are accountable.
Oh yeah.
You are responsible to make sure that they are built securely, they are built with proper guardrails, and it is following all the safety precautions, you can say, or structure. And it's only using, it's using authenticated agents, no malicious agent, and it's using authorized content, right? So as a builder, you're responsible, and that's the connection.
Oh yeah. 100%. Something that we were talking this morning was along the lines of, so often as developers, we just want to build the fun part of our applications, and we often leave security for like the second part. And I think that's definitely a shift that we need to start making, especially with AI applications,
Mm-hmm.
and building things like MCP, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know, I was wondering if maybe you can explain what MCP is designed to do and what it offers to developers who are
Yeah.
looking to empower their AI tools securely.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'll call out one thing. Please don't leave security as a
I
second,
know. Please.
afterthought. That's just like from the start, right?
Please.
Because I will say, like, before answering your question, the breaches and all the bad actors or hackers, like those issues we already had the cybersecurity in the cybersecurity space, but AI space further enhances because now it's smarter, it can adapt, and it can do things without someone triggering it. So it's even more important to pay attention to and build securely. So that's something that I just want to call out very quickly. But for your question on MCP, Carla,
Mm-hmm.
at a basic level, what MCP is a protocol. It's a specification,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now we launched our beta version of MCP, and we are improving, and we will launch more upgraded versions as well. But the goal there is that we can adhere to the specification MCP, which ensures two things at the basic level. Number one is that now you can interact with API on the other side, so your application can speak to other application or other APIs in natural language.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the capability that MCP allows, which is it can convert and understand your language of like, get me access to this or log me into that. How do you make sure that the technology now converts that into, okay, you asked for log me into something, I should call Auth0 authorize API, right? So that's what MCP is doing. So when we launched our MCP, it can understand those natural language and convert and call the right APIs so you can get your application working with us.
Yeah.
That's one. The second part is it provides our specification in pushes us, you can say, or makes us adhere to certain guardrails around security. So it has a certain protocolic expectation for you to make sure you're following it. So using MCP, certainly I would encourage everybody to leverage that when you're building your application, to talk to other applications and work with other applications, which you will need to leverage MCP's capable MCP servers to make sure, one, it can easily understand your language, and two, it is at least the basic security capabilities are there. Of course, I would recommend that you further leverage better stack, such as our Auth0 GenAI stack, which brings, authentication, authorization, storing your token vault. I see very commonly, and I go to hackathon and I see people presenting their hack, and they will put up the slide and will be copying the secret key, and they'll say, "Don't copy it." Like, God, too late. I already saw it, and so I would recommend to take the best practices of token vault, which is again in the platform. And then lastly, there are places where application will need a confirmation, right? I think in Abhishek's demo before, he demoed that really well. So leveraging those capabilities out of the box from a platform will certainly set you up for success.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And also today we also had a session with Dina, who also shared about MCP, how it works, how to integrate it with Auth0, and kind of like to understand what the capability is, out there to offer. And I think it's something that every developer can look into and try to understand. I know I'm definitely going to look into it because, like I said, I definitely need to go more into that space and understand it a bit more. And maybe now we can talk about kind of like the big picture, and how do you see identity and security evolving, specifically in the era of AI? How does Auth0 work contribute to shaping the future of security in AI applications?
Well, I think it's going to shift meaningfully from my point of view. I'll give you one very obvious example. A lot of time in login, we look for a human way of logging in. So if someone's logging in a certain time period too often, that's usually a fraud detection rule.
Yeah.
That's not going to apply with agents, because agents will log in at a much faster pace. They will multiply, so there will be so many login, and they're doing things on behalf of the user. So they could be doing 5 things at the same time. So now we cannot have the same rule. That's just a simple, basic example. Many companies apply geolocation-based rules. That will also not apply, because agents again could be running from anywhere, right? So these are just basic concept, and then of course there are many complex concepts will shift because of the agentic space. So I personally, I would say there was more static behavior to identity before, or logging in. It will shift and become more dynamic for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So that's number one. The other thing I would say about identity and how it will shift is also, the multiplication of it. So now it's not just one user. There are multiple things using my identity in different applications at the same time, while I'm doing completely something else. I'm not even there, right? So the async aspect of it is also going to play a very different role, because many companies, again, operate on, the user traffic behavior, right? Or pattern or seasonality. Those things will also shift, because now agents are not sleeping, agents are not tired, so they will operate in a very different way. So that traffic pattern of or companies that operated or behaved using that traffic pattern, that's also going to shift. So the async aspect is going to play a big role. And then the other aspect that I also want to call out is, for developers, the abstraction layer, right, with code generation tool, MCP, more natural language way of working, rather than being stuck to the language they are used to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to shift meaningfully, which means now I would think the future of it would development would be anybody and every developer could contribute to meaningful applications and solutions. And that's a great way to see how language is not a barrier, technology is not a barrier. And that future certainly enables and should enable more developer to kind of contribute towards every development and every solutioning, because I do feel tech can bring bigger solution and transformation. And just to kind of end this point with the last theme here is the security of the agent, which is what I said, trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a key part. Securing your agent and creating guardrails around it is the key part of success of adoption. Users are not going to be will not feel comfortable if they're not secure or they know that it's not. I mean, we have data and stats around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is ultimate importance of, like, when you're building, you pay attention to that. And lastly, I'm proud, and I'm glad we are talking about it today, is that we certainly are at the forefront of it to make sure that we are staying ahead, we are shaping identity, we are partnering with many design partners as well as companies who are engaging with us to say how and what they want to do with agentic technology, so that we can understand their use cases and see what does that mean for us to shape identity, but also our technology to make it easy and be where they are building, right? So that then there we are part of the stack, and it just becomes more natural and frictionless for us, which is also a core part of our
Oh yeah.
our developer friendliness.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you said, how it's about allowing anyone in any language, any technology to use it, because I think I really connect a lot with that. And I really want to thank you for being here today and sharing your insights on AI and security, and ultimately how Auth0, I think it's leading the way in this topic. I think we have a great opportunity here to offer these solutions to developers, and it's looking very, very much like a bright thing happening. So thank you so much for being here and for your time.
Of course.
Everyone, this was Bhawna, our
Thank
very
you.
lovely CTO.
Yeah.
And
And this is amazing, Carla. I love all of your conversations that you're having. I've been watching, and God, the how you doing really stuck with me. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much.